Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow Leicester Fan TV on all socials.
Welcome to the match preview with Leicester Fan TV. We are joined here by the last word on Spurs. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, thank you. Yes, thanks for having me.
No worries.
It's a tricky season, as you probably know. We'll probably get into that.
Yes, we'll get straight into it then, mate. Obviously, we are playing on Sunday. Not the best of seasons for you so far. I think you're 15th now. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's where it is. Not the greatest season for you. Obviously, we're not having the best season as well. We're on 7 on a bounce losing streak now. But going into this game, this could be one which, like, a lot of people have been calling the El Sacico. Like, what's your take on this season, mate? Because, like, looking at your form, it's not been great either, has it?
No, I mean, look, domestically, it's not been great at all. Look, Spurs are still in all 3 cup competitions, and of course, I mean, that's probably where the focus for our season is, most certainly. But there is growing pressure on Ange in terms of the league form, because it just simply isn't good enough for a club of Tottenham standing to be 15th in the Premier League, despite a decimation that he's had of injuries. It's very, very hard to take right now. There's a lot of frustrated Spurs fans out there. I think it's fair to say, probably similar to Leicester fans, there's like a definitive split again on a manager. And I feel like maybe fans feel Tottenham and Leicester fans are quite self-entitled. They want to keep sacking their managers. But yeah, been a tricky season, mate, to be honest with you so far. And it'll be interesting, obviously, to see how this game pans out, because, like you say, there could be certain repercussions given how it goes.
Yeah, you were just talking about Ange and whatnot. What's your take on him at the moment? Because obviously, when he first came in, he did very well, getting a lot of wins. But now, I think a lot of fans, from what I've been saying, they kind of you play one way, and if it either works or really doesn't work. Like I say, you played Man City, you beat him 4-0, and then you go and lose to Everton 3-2. Like, what's your take on him before we get into the game more?
Yeah, look, I mean, I've said it many times. I've got no problem with Ange as a person. I like the way he wants to play football. I like the way he wants to approach the game. I've got certain concerns whether it's sustainable in the long term, to be honest with you. And it's going to be interesting, obviously, to see how he's going to navigate these next few weeks, where he has got a lot of injuries at the moment. Obviously, Spurs are still, as I mentioned, in all 3 cup competitions. We'd love to win a domestic trophy. It's been far, far too long, but the league form simply hasn't been good enough. And look, he's taking responsibility for that. He's aware it's not been good enough. So I think as fans, we probably just want to evaluate end of the season and see where we're at, because there's a split amongst the fan base as to whether he is the right man long term. But look, if he wins a couple of trophies, he'll be the most successful manager in Spurs' last 17 years. So that's just how much the game can change. It's that balmy.
Yeah, and what are you kind of looking into this game then? For us, it's obviously a must-win with how you're playing at the moment. I think a lot of games this season is a must-win for us now, with us only being on 14 points in 22 games. But what's your aim for the rest of this season now? Where are you? Like, obviously, you were just saying there you want to win a cup or you want to get something trophy-wise. But what is your kind of aim now in the league? Are you hoping to still finish in a Europa League or even a Conference League spot, or are you just happy to try and get a cup this year?
Yeah, I've got to be honest with you, Matt. I think given our standing and the position right now, I think it'd be very hard to even achieve a Europa Conference League finish. You know, we'd have to rack up a number of wins, and, you know, where Spurs are, you know, at the moment, it sounds crazy. I think many have been joking, get me to 40 points. I mean, look, it'll be a lot lower this season to stay up, but the reality is that, you know, I think we've lost as many as Ipswich. So the concern at the moment is in the league. I think we're kind of looking over our shoulder and kind of because the run that we've been on at the moment, it's been 1 in 10 in the Premier League. So it just emphasises how big the Leicester game is for Spurs on Sunday, and for Leicester as well coming into it, which I'm sure we'll come on to. They're in a similar situation where they've not had the greatest run of form under Rude really since taking the job by the opening win that he had there. So it feels like for both teams it's a massive, massive Premier League game in which both desperately need the win.
Yeah, we'll obviously come into the Leicester side a bit more in a minute, but after watching the Everton game against you, and obviously you were 3-0 down at half time, and I saw Ange's post-match interview, and he was saying about how many injuries you do have, and he basically could only field 11 players that he's got available. How bad is it for you right now? Because a lot of Leicester fans know how bad the injury crisis is for us with key players out. But how bad is it for you at the moment?
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, I think we've got something along the lines of 14 players out, senior first team players, when you're going to be missing, the 3 out of the 4 of your back 4 in general, it's be very, very hard to ever really find consistency in regards to the league. But, Spurs have got players outside that are still fairly decent players. And I think the argument has been that, look, for a lot of fans out there, whilst we've had injuries, we still believe we've had players on the pitch capable of still putting in performances and winning games. And we just simply haven't seen that enough over the course of the last 10, which has seen us win 1 in 10. And that one that we won was against bottom of the table Southampton. So, look, for a club of Tottenham standing, I can't sit here and say anything else, but it's unacceptable to be 15th in the Premier League. I think, look, we have had a huge decimation of injuries. You can't get away from that. Is it purely unluck? Is there something more sinister to the way we're training? That's obviously a question that's been asked by the fans. So I don't want to sit here and make excuses, man. I don't want to hide away from things. Yes, we've got a lot of injuries, but at the same time, with the players that we've had out there over the course of the last 10 games in the Premier League, the results should be better. We should not only be winning 1 in 10. We shouldn't be.
No, fair enough. Obviously, going into the Leicester side, then, as you know, we've lost 7 in a row with Ruud van Nistelrooy. I don't know how much you've seen of us play or how we have been playing compared to when Cooper was in charge for us, but it seems a lot of fans on our side now. It's getting very toxic with the way we're signing players. We've only signed 1 in this window, and for other promoted side like Southampton and Ipswich, they're paying dollar out to get players in to make sure they stay up in the league. But Leicester at the moment are in a very tough spot. There's a lot of fans calling for the board to be sacked, or even our chairman to leave and sell the club. What's your take on Leicester at the moment? Because it is a very hard spot to be a Leicester fan right now, but I think once we get that first win, that's where hopefully it will springboard us on again to, because we're not playing bad. Like the performances are looking good. Like other than a few games where, like say the Fulham game or the Wolves game where we did absolutely get demolished. What is your take on Leicester at the moment? Because I feel like the performance is there. If we don't make errors, there's every chance we can get a result on Sunday. As much as you don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think for Leicester, it's the perfect game to come into, really. You're facing an under-strength, under-confident Tottenham side that they won, obviously, in Europe, obviously, last night, which was great for them. But at the same time, I think Leicester, quite honestly, just haven't been able to kick on under Ruud. They had the 1 win, I think, so far in his reign. It came right at the start. And I have to be honest and say, look, I've not watched Leicester every week, but I think it's fair to say that Scott Cooper wasn't the most popular appointment when he was first announced. And I think very quickly fans grew to a point where they wanted to see a change. They got a change in Ruud. Was Ruud the right man? And I mean, look, you know what football fans are like. When the reality is when you're winning games, they're the right man. When they're not winning games, they're the wrong man. So it's a precarious position for Ruud because Leicester will argue they should be a Premier League club. They won an FA Cup not too long ago, as we remember, and they were a side that were in Europe and the Champions League, which is crazy to say that. But I think, look, Leicester fans also feel they probably shouldn't be having to fight relegation, and there should have been enough their investment to push them on, but it just simply hasn't happened. And I mean, recruitment, as you know, being a Leicester fan, it's one of those things where you've had some fabulous signings in the past. You've had players that have come in and maybe haven't been as great. The reality of recruitment is key to everything in football. You get it right, you'll have a good season. You get it wrong, you're made to pay for it. So I think Leicester at the point where they are right now, like you said, they just need to try and get a couple of wins together. The Premier League's in that situation where it sounds crazy. You look at the bottom half of the table. If you can rack up a number of wins, I think Newcastle won 7 in a row before they got beaten by Bournemouth the other week, and they're inside the top 3, the top 4. So it just shows you what can be done. But I think the reality with Leicester this season, it is about staying up. And I think they still have enough, but I do think Ruud's position there is pretty precarious given the run of results. When you've just won 1 in the last, forgive me, I think it's 7 or 8, players will be low on confidence. So he does need results there and quick because Leicester have shown, like Tottenham, they are quite trigger happy that ball, and they won't. You wouldn't be surprised if they were to make another change if there's a need to. So, be interested to see how this situation plays out of both managers.
Yeah, we'll move on to the game then. And obviously, I will mention one man who did leave us to go to you, James Maddison. What's your take on him since he's joined you? Because from what I heard and what I've seen, I thought he wasn't playing as much as he did. But looking at, he's played 22 games for you in the Premier League, which I'm guessing maybe are subs or even starts. But he's only scored 8 goals and got 4 assists. Are you happy with him since he's joined, or what's your take on him?
I think his return to goals this season has been fairly good, and his assists as well. I think the thing with James is that I think that does frustrate us is that James is very, very good in the games when Tottenham are playing well. I think when the games aren't going our way and when the going gets tough, very rarely does James turn up. And I think we thought getting that level of player that he showed at Leicester, where he did at times take the game by the scruff of the neck for you guys, we haven't seen that in a Tottenham shirt, to be fair. And I think in the bad games we've had this season, James, when he has played, has been one of those players that has gone missing. So he reminds me of a player that is all very well playing when things are going well, when things are going tough. That's what we're missing. So obviously he does feel like he's very heavily England incentivized around him. I feel like when England are managers are at the games, he tends to have a good game, which sounds crazy saying that when Tuchel's at the game or Southgate Pride have a good game. I mean, we're Tottenham at the moment with James. You know, when Spurs play well, James plays well. So I've got to say that I'm fairly underwhelmed to some degree in the bigger games that James hasn't made the impact with regards to when it gets tough. But again, is the manager using him correctly? What's that relationship like? You know, to be fair, he's been brought off a number of times under Ange when we're either chasing a winner or chasing an equaliser, and he's the vice captain. So I do find that pretty bizarre and pretty strange. So I do question what that relationship is like behind the scenes. So yeah, more to come from James, but yeah, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't expecting more.
No, I get you, mate. He's the creative number 10 that most teams want. So from what he gives, like I say, he was kind of the same for us. The year he went down, I feel like he said he was trying his best and whatnot, but at times, if you weren't playing well or you weren't getting the results, he just wasn't performing for us. So it's sort of a mentality thing, isn't it? But go on then, mate. Going into the game, is there any Leicester players you're kind of worrying about, or you got to look at in case there's any threat there? What's your take on it, mate?
I don't think Jamie Vardy always is a player that you have to worry about as a Spurs fan. The ball over the top, he seems to always love that ball over the top, but he does seem to like. I think it's fair to say I think he enjoyed in the obviously reversal of this game on the first game of the season, taunting us when he did score. So yeah, what can I say? Look, I think he's one that does very much worry me. I think Leicester have got some good players in there. It's just, again, a case of if they turn up, they could really take the game to Spurs. I think, general, just so you know, I think Spurs fans are massively worried about the game. There'll be a nervous atmosphere at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We haven't won there for a while. Wolves held us to a 2-2 draw in our last Premier League home game now. So I think Leicester can take confidence from that. I mean, look, all I will say to you is that 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a goal at Tottenham. You know, if Leicester can hang in the game for long enough, they will get chances and they will get opportunities. So Vardy's a player that can most certainly take an opportunity, which is obviously what we're worried about. So there's certainly a bit of pessimism in the Spurs fan base about the current domestic form, which as a Leicester fan, you'd be looking to take advantage of.
Yeah, like I say, as much as we're in such a bad form right now, I look at, like I say, every game we go into is like Crystal Palace. They were in good form, but at home you should be getting a result against Fulham. Yes, they're a good team. They were in eighth place. You should be getting at least hopefully a draw, but we didn't. So going into this game, looking at it, it's probably on paper an easier game than both of them. So realistically, it should be easier, but there's no doubt it won't, because when Leicester need a win, we never get it. So. Last thing I'll ask before a score prediction, mate, is there any players that we should be looking out for in your side? But obviously, yes, you've got a lot of injuries, but obviously you've got Son, you've got Maddison. Is there anyone that maybe is up and coming or coming into the team that is looking quite good for you at the moment?
Well, I mean, Kulusevski's been Tottenham's standout player of the season by far. Kulusevski's been Tottenham's best player. They've moved him to a central role. And yeah, I mean, he's been one of those players that, to be fair, when the chips have been down to some degree, he's remained a level of consistency, bar 1 or 2 games. So I'd probably say he's on to keep an eye on. I don't know what Spurs are going to do, though, because like I say, because they have got so many injuries, it's whether they will essentially be maybe, I say it's hard because they need to beat Leicester, but whether they look to rotate a few. I think Spencer's the doubt. Matt Patterson started the game. I think that could be the one to watch. Mikey Moore, though, has looked fairly good on the European stage, on for a good half an hour, 40 minutes. Forgive me, who have we just played in the Europa League? This is my mind. You have to forgive me, mate. We had that game last night in the Europa League. Who do we have? Hoffenheim, forgive me. There you go. 24 hours later, it's gone from my mind. Hoffenheim that we beat. So, yeah, I mean, look, I'd say the players to watch probably at the moment are Decky, maybe Mikey Moore. Obviously, we've really haven't lost to Solanke. He's really hit us hard. You know, he really does lead the press so well for us. So by not having him now, it's tricky. So yeah, those are the ones to watch.
Nice, mate. Nice, mate. Finally, then score prediction. I'm guessing you're going to be quite positive on your side still, as much as, like I say, we're in bad form. You're going to hopefully get a result. But what's your take on the result tomorrow, on Sunday, mate?
Well, mate, I'll be honest with you. I don't like coming on to other channels and being negative in terms of what I feel about the team. I'll try and keep it as upbeat as I can. My head says 2-1 Tottenham. I think my heart draw. So it's which wouldn't help either side, would they? Really, I think Leicester getting a point. I mean, does it really help me? Kind of stops the rot, but then you guys need the points to pick up. So I'll say 2-1 Tottenham, but it wouldn't surprise me if it ends in a draw. I've got to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm going to the game. I don't know if you'll be there, but for me, all I'm aiming for is to get a result. Again, a good performance, hopefully a good result, and just get the ball rolling again, because, like I say, we've been playing well. We've not got the results from it, so we've just got to come to you and hopefully take the game to you, because with the injuries you've got, there's every chance you can get a goal, like you said.
Yeah.
But score prediction wise, I'd say I'd be happy with a draw, but in the form we're in now, we've got to go for the win. And the way you're playing, there's every chance we should be getting a win there. If we're on form anyway. So I'll say 2-2, but I think if I'm lucky, we'll go for a 3-1, just for the fun of it, a 3-1 Vardy hat trick, just to annoy you even more.
Oh my God. It's an interesting game, but we both need to win it. So, I mean, look, for both teams, it's a massive game and a crux of the season, really. I think a win for either side kind of does maybe kickstart the second half of the campaign. So that's just how big the game is, going also into the final week of the transfer window. So, all fun and games.
No worries. Where can we find you, mate, if anybody wants to watch some more Spurs content?
Thanks so much, mate. Yeah, we're on YouTube. We're on YouTube, where you can find all of our exclusive shows on there, post-match, pre-match reaction, transfer shows during this period, any kind of breaking news on Spurs, we're there for it. That's that last one on Spurs across all the socials. And yeah, come and check us out. Come and see us maybe after the game if you want to get a take from a Tottenham perspective. Again, it'll be interesting, obviously, how the game goes. So yeah, thanks so much for having me. And yeah, let's see if we're obviously going to be seeing each other again next season. Well, who knows where we both could be playing, given the current run of form of each club.
Yeah, no worries. Appreciate you coming on, mate, and we'll catch you on the next show. See you in a bit, guys.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
The City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow Leicester Fan TV on all socials.